right, well, welcome to the R&R Show. Sit back and relax and enjoy the best little sports show ever. I'm your host, Michael Roope, and this is my co-host, William Rumsey. Hello, William.
Howdy.
All right, well, now we just went over Saturday's games.
Got us warmed up.
It did. Now we're going to roll into Sunday's games, and we're going to start off with probably, I think, is going to be the best game of the docket between the 2 days. We've got the Ravens versus the Titans.
Yeah.
The Ravens are laying 3.5.
Wow.
What do you think, William?
Well, it's a rematch of last year's. It was the divisional round that they played, where Tennessee basically blew the doors off of Baltimore. You know, it was Lamar Jackson's MVP season coming out party. Everybody thought the Ravens were going to roll, so I feel like we're back in the same situation. Same teams, pretty much.
But they did play earlier this year.
Yeah. Tennessee's defense is not good.
Garbage.
I mean, we saw Joe Burrow just run roughshod over the Titans' defense. You know, the great equalizer is a lot of times a running game. Derrick Henry, you know, he had a 2,000-yard season. So I think that he can run on the Ravens. I am going to actually take the Titans.
This one was very, very hard. I've went back and forth multiple times on this. I will tell you this. If I was, when I bet the game, the one thing I am going to bet is the over. The over-under is 54.5.
Yep.
I could very easily see this playing out to be like, 35-28, something of that nature. Here's the thing. The Ravens had them down pretty early this year, and then they let the Titans get back in because the Titans have a dynamic offense.
They do.
That defense is terrible, though. I feel that Lamar's kind of got his mojo going a little bit, and I think he's very eager to lay it all out there. You know, they're going to definitely, earlier in the year, they were trying to make him not run as much.
Yeah.
And now, as you've seen later in the year, they've just basically now taken the kid gloves off and let him run wild. I foresee the Ravens, if gun to the head, I'm going to have to say the Ravens are covering.
Okay.
But to bet this, I would say bet the over.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just think that the Titans have the worst secondary in the playoffs.
It's god awful.
Yeah, it's the worst secondary in the playoffs, and they are just. I don't know what to make of them. I don't think that they're playing particularly well at the end of the year.
The last impression that we have of them, a lot of people, is that game in Green Bay where they just didn't show up. They wrecked my fantasy football season. They did not show up. But I believe in Ryan Tannehill too. I mean, if you look at his numbers over the last 2 years, he is a upper echelon quarterback in this league.
Yep.
So he's, it's not just going to be all Derrick Henry. I mean, you got A.J. Brown, you have Corey Davis who played really well this year. So they're going to be able to put points on the board too. But Lamar, like you said, has been playing well. But
Yeah, and I will say my basic rule of thumb typically is always bet the home dog.
Mm-hmm.
There's something.
That's why I picked them. You gave me that rule of thumb.
And it has the hook on it too.
Yeah.
But something just tells me that the Ravens right the ship here.
Can we tell the folks at home what the hook means?
Yeah, so for the people that are gambling novices, the hook is that the half a point. And lots of, anybody that bets will always say, if you get to from a field goal to 3.5 or from a touchdown to a touchdown and a half, everybody loves that extra hook because, typically these games get down to a field goal or a touchdown, and that hook is what's the difference. Yeah. So, my general rule of thumb is I always like the home dogs, especially if you have a hook. So I'm going against the grain on both of those accounts, and I'm going to take the Ravens. I just think they're both good coaches, but I just think Harbaugh, I feel that the Baltimore is gelling at the right time, and Tennessee is kind of just muddling.
Yeah,
they're that defense. That secondary is the worst secondary in the playoffs right now. Not that Baltimore's passing game is probably the worst in playoffs, but I think it's a spot where Lamar's going to write that narrative of him not being able to win a playoff game.
Okay.
So that's my pick. So we're different on that one.
Yeah,
all right,
man.
so we're different on a lot. The next game on the
Our
docket,
reputation is at stake this
it
weekend.
really is at this point.
Wow.
So we'll see. This next game we've got, this here is I believe the no-brainer of the year. Now we've got the Bears versus the Saints. There's a couple different lines out there. I've got it at 9.5, and I loved it at 9.5. Other than a couple places has it at 10. I'm going with the Saints just for the simple fact the Bears aren't a playoff team. I'm not even sure how they got to this point.
Right.
Trubisky, he's a turd.
I looked down to make my picks this morning. Shit, the Bears are there.
Yeah. I'm like, how'd that happen? And I'll tell you this: the Saints defense will make Trubisky look terrible. They will smother them. The Saints are the most rested they probably have been all year. Michael Thomas is fresh. He's healthy. You got Kamara coming back, and he's had a week of rest from the pandemic. I'm telling you right now, this Saints team is going to throttle the Bears by 20.
I mean, there has to be some kind of gambling rule that you don't put money on Mitchell Trubisky.
Yeah.
Is that out there somewhere?
It should
it's got to be written in stone.
Yes.
I just don't trust that guy. There's no way I could take money out of my wallet and bet it on that.
Absolutely not.
He's been playing well, but if you looked at his schedule of who he's been playing well against, not good defense.
They've backdoored their way in. Basically, if they beat Green Bay, they were in.
Yeah.
And they didn't show up.
They shit the bed.
Yeah. So basically, that should tell you all you need to know about what's going to happen. Because the Saints, I believe, has the best overall personnel team in the playoffs.
So the Bears and the Cardinals, they both shit the bed.
Yep.
And then they snuck their way in.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Typically, you don't like teams that backdoor their way in. Now, that was a one-off with the Rams. I like the Rams. I just think that their defense is too elite from Saturday's game. But the Bears, I'm telling you right now, you lay the points. In this case, I got it at 9.5, and that's gravy.
I mean, all right, so just not to complete, the Bears, we don't know how they got in. But if they were to somehow keep the game close, David Montgomery has played well this year.
Garbage.
Okay. Allen Robinson is a true number one receiver. So I mean, they do. And if Trubisky starts hitting his tight ends, that's how I could see that happen.
The
but I just
only
don't.
way that this game, I will say that the Bears' defense is solid, especially when they have their defensive tackle in there. They do well, but the Rams are so explosive.
Artis Hicks.
I don't know if the first name, the Hicks is the last name. I can't remember his first name.
Okay.
But I will say this: the Sean Payton is one of the best designers of getting his playmakers the ball. Mm-hmm. Him and Andy Reid are like 1A, 1B. And I'll tell you right now that they're going to sprinkle a lot at the Bears. I just don't think that defense can hold this team down. The only worry that I have is Drew Brees' health. Can he push the ball downfield? If the Bears get any inkling that he cannot, they are going to squeeze that field and make him try to beat him over top.
Could we see Taysom Hill?
If you never know,
yeah,
you don't. I expect we'll see a nice heavy, healthy dose of him. They're going to have some packages where they will get him out there because that's just more stuff to prepare for.
One of my favorite things in sports is when Sean Payton inserts Taysom Hill over Brees, and Brees goes to the sideline and he is just pissed off.
Yeah,
you can just tell by the look on his face. He hates it.
Yeah,
hates coming off the field.
Yep. But you know what? Sean Payton, he's all about winning, and he's proved that he can win with anybody under that quarterback. Sure. Lay the points, take the Saints. Is that what you got?
Yeah, I have the Saints as
Okay,
well.
I was gonna say
At 9.5, I have the Saints. I mean, at 10, I'd still take the Saints. I think they're going to roll.
I don't see this being close.
Yeah.
I think this is the blowout of the day.
Yeah.
As long as Breeze doesn't take a massive shot and things just go ahead.
I think Taysom could beat the Bears too.
Yeah, I don't think the Bears. I mean, I just don't see them offensively. Saints has a good defense.
They
so
do.
That's
and they're at home.
Yep. So then the last game on the docket for Sunday, we've got the Cleveland Browns for the first time in how many years? Was it like 18 or something years?
It's been a long stretch.
Yeah, like a crazy amount of time versus the Steelers. We got a couple teams here that basically I feel like they've had COVID issues all year.
Yeah.
I feel like the whole AFC North has had nothing but COVID issues between Baltimore Steelers and the Browns. It's just been nothing but very choppiness. We've got the Browns had to beat the Steelers last week to get in the playoffs, although it was against the B team.
The B team, yeah. All week I was probably for some reason I just felt the Browns were going to come out and play well. But I started reading things and really, again, it might be the same rule that I have for Mitchell Trubisky. Don't lose money on the Browns. ESPN's number one sports writer for the NFL, Bill Barnwell, he actually picked the Steelers to win 34-7. So he thinks they're going to blow the doors off of them. I just worry, Roethlisberger, he looked good against the Colts, finally making that comeback, but he just has not looked himself this year. I think that his receivers drop a lot of balls, so what's going to happen in the playoffs when, everything is heightened in the playoffs? Are they going to have big drops, or are they going to come through? So, but that all being said, I think the Steelers defense is going to put a clamp on Baker Mayfield.
I originally was going with the Browns just for the simple fact Steelers aren't really great defensively against the run, but then you dig in a little bit more. They lost one of their top linemen last week. Then you accompany that with
the Browns lost.
The Browns did. Then you accompany that with them losing their head coach. That still means something. And I feel like the Browns, it looked like it was just they were celebrating New Year's Eve with just to get to the playoffs. I think that they are emotionally spent just to get in. The Steelers, they were laughing the whole time. Heck, they almost beat them with Mason Rudolph.
Yeah.
I put Mason Rudolph probably as the worst quarterback in the league. Right. And that just shows you how bad that Browns secondary
probably would have been Ryan Finley before his primetime game.
Yes, it would have. And I will tell you this, that the Titans secondary, how bad that is, that Browns secondary is just almost close to being as bad. I think, and Steelers aren't a running team anymore. That's gone. Mm-hmm. But they have a good passing team with a rested Big Ben.
Yeah.
And a rested, T.J. Watt and Cam Hayward. They are going to be foaming at the mouth. I think Baker Mayfield shits the bed. I think that guy's right.
We've had a lot of bed shitting in this segment.
Well, I'm going to call this 31-14.
Okay. What I was kind of looking at during the week, what this reminded me of was last year when the Titans played the Ravens. Everybody picked the Ravens. And then the Titans came out with good quarterback play with Tannehill and a great running game, and then they just shut Lamar Jackson down. So I kind of likened that game last year to this, thought that the Browns could come out, not that they were going to blow the doors off the Steelers, but then I can't get behind the Browns, especially with 6 points. I see the Steelers winning comfortably.
Yep, I think the Steelers defense gets after Baker. Baker is just, he's not very comfortable if it's just not,
His first year that he came out, I thought Baker was going to be really good, and he's had his moments this year.
I think that they were happy to be there, and plus they didn't practice a lot this week, and then Baker's out there making comments, trying to get ahead of it, saying, "Well, I don't think not having practice will really hurt us that much." He's already making excuses. I
And
feel a built-in excuse.
Their head coach has COVID. I know they were going to try to, they were talking about could he be there and coach, but I don't think they're going to let him be there.
Yeah.
So
It's done.
That does not help matters because I think
there's uncertainty
compared to the head coach they had last year to this guy. You can tell the difference of professionalism and just the way his team played. So not having him, or it could be win one for the Gipper. I mean, he's not there. Are they going to rally around?
No,
you're not.
Steelers
you're not
done.
sold on
The
that.
Steelers are crushing them.
Yeah.
Lay the 6 and take the Steeler Nation all the way on this. Is that what you think?
Yeah, I'm taking it.
So to recap our picks for Sunday, we've both got on the Steelers laying the 6.
Mm-hmm.
We both have the Saints laying the 9.5.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get it at 9.5 and not 10 like William and I did. And then we were split on the Ravens Titans.
Mm-hmm.
I went more with the gut on this.
I could look really bad on that one.
Well, really, you could coin flip on that one.
Yeah.
If I was to, like I mentioned to you, if I was to bet something on that game, I love the over because I think both offenses go off.
Yeah.
So,
do we want to give a bonus pick for the national championship game on Monday night?
let's do that, William.
I just came up with that.
Yeah, this is on the fly here. So
Yeah,
on the national championship,
I know they've been talking about maybe postponing the game.
but I just listened to something on the way in from being booted from the Indiana State Gaming Commission that the game's still going to be played. They barely have enough players to meet that requirement of however many.
Wow.
But they're laying 7 right now.
So it's 7.
It's 7.
Wow.
What do you think? How do you see this playing out?
If Ohio State was at full health, I think it would be a really good game. But I think the Crimson Tide will win by 10.
I do too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I just
There's just something about that band.
Ohio State got so up for Clemson. I just see it's the proverbial letdown. It's you hate to say a letdown for a national championship game, but I think that they were. Alabama's just playing really, really, really well, and Ohio State's kind of been peak and valleys. Now they did something to Clemson that hasn't been done probably in the last decade, but I just think Bama's just they're humming. And there's the guy that won the Heisman,
Devontae Smith,
the other guy that's supposedly coming back, supposedly better than him,
Jalen Waddle.
Yeah. So and there was some talk about Waddle could play.
Yeah.
Boy, if I just even if he doesn't play much, just to have another threat to have to worry about that's better than a Heisman guy. I mean.
I just think Devontae Smith is just insanely good right now.
Yep.
I mean, nobody can cover that kid.
No.
I mean,
and you seen what IU did to Ohio State's defense with their quarterback and receiving. No knock on Penix, but I'm telling you right, the Alabama skill positions are light years still ahead of IU's, and I suspect that this will be a high scoring game. Any way you cut it, but I just think
Alabama's offense, man, is just it's humming.
Yeah,
hitting on all sides. Because I watched them against Notre Dame, and they just, I don't know. I haven't seen an offense like that be that confident in what they're doing. Everybody knows what to do, and it's
it's impressive.
I see the Crimson Tide winning by 10.
Yep. Me also. So, well, that's a nice little tidy bow on it. So, let us know what your guys' picks are. Send some thoughts on what William and I's predictions are, and we'll definitely see you guys next week to bet on some more games. Thanks, guys.